Hi guys, I'm Andrew Patton and welcome to episode 2 of the Work to Live podcast. The Work to Live podcast is all about speaking with those who are living their lives by their own accord and have made the choice to work to live and are not just simply living to work. In this episode, I speak with Mitch Hills, a young Brisbane-based entrepreneur who's the founder of the AroundAbout App, the Exceptions Network and Mastered Marketing. He knows a ton about starting, growing and marketing businesses, and he eats, sleeps and breathes the entrepreneur mentality. He's a very motivated and inspiring guy, and you can't help but feel pumped up to go out there and get it after listening to him. Let's get into it. So Mitch, you're the owner or the old owner of Pogo Entertainment, AroundAbout App, Mastered Marketing, the Exceptions Meetups, and you have a new book as well. And you're 22?
I am 22, yes. Recently turned 22 this month, actually.
Oh, awesome. Happy birthday, mate.
Thank you.
Why don't you give us a bit of a brief background and describe like how you ended up doing all those awesome things?
It's probably started, I think it definitely would have started with Pogo Entertainment at the start. So when I first started the business, I fell in love with it. I thought it was awesome. And to be honest, I accidentally started that business mainly because I was DJing. And a friend of mine, Nick Marquesi, actually, who just won Australian of the Year, coincidence, he's a legend. He had sound and lighting equipment, and so we kind of teamed up to do parties, and it kind of accidentally happened, and then it just kept growing and growing, and then I learnt the fundamentals, and I got hooked on it, and I loved it, and I was making money and learning all the stuff, and I thought it was great. And ever since then, I've loved it, and I've always read books from, Elon Musk and Richard Branson and all these amazing people, and they're so amazing that I suppose I felt like I had to catch up in a sense. Even though I was so young, I kind of felt like I want to be like these people. And so once you know what you want in life, and I'm very lucky to kind of know what I want, it's easy to go out and get it. Like there's amazing people that have achieved 500 times what I've achieved, and they're only younger than I am. So I suppose to answer your question is like, how do I manage to do it all? It's just knowing what you want. Like I instead of watching Game of Thrones, I'll just do something that's what I love, or starting a business or whatever that is. I think that answered your question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, pretty much. No, I get what you're saying about like not wasting your time. Like I just, like for me, an easy one was I stopped sleeping next to my phone and I set my alarm so I have to get up to turn it off. So instead of just waking up and being on Instagram and Facebook for half an hour, I'm like, I'm up, I'm going.
That's great. That's good. I should do that too.
It doesn't hurt. Like it was like 30 minutes, 45 minutes every day. And I was like, this needs to stop.
Yeah, that would need to stop.
So what do you do at the moment? What's your latest venture? What are you up to?
So the main thing right now is probably mastered marketing. So throughout the process of doing a startup and the business experience that I have had, one thing that I've learned and enjoyed the most was the marketing side of things. So marketing and design. So basically telling stories, social media, design, things that look nice, and kind of packaging all that together to really give what's in the founder's head and turn it into a tangible asset, if that makes sense. So like if you go to a cafe and you meet the owner, they're this passionate person and they tell you how great it is and they can tell you back to front this amazing story of how it started. And then you go on their website, or they don't have a website, and their social media just looks dull and it looks really boring. And in this day and age, you absolutely need to have that online presence. And so I like to take literally what's in people's heads and put it online and position them in that light that really showcases their expertise and their point of difference, and then make that a reality for them, because they either don't know how to do it, don't want to do it, or kind of just don't feel the need for it. But it's absolutely essential. So that's exactly what I do with that. I'm also working on some stuff for helping real estate agents personally brand themselves, but that's not set in stone yet. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, awesome. So were you always into this entrepreneurial stuff, or did you kind of pick it up later?
Yeah, well, like I said, I kind of accidentally started my first business, and then from there it kind of just kept rolling. Like I loved everything about it, and then I'd look at people, these amazing people, like, and even I still do. I read books and watch videos from awesome people that I want to be like, and then I want to be like them, and I want to create cool things, and I want to make cool companies, and I want to tell cool stories, and I want to have total freedom. And it's like it's like in the Matrix when he said, I say this, entrepreneurship's like in the Matrix when the red pill or the blue pill. And once you go down the road, like, it's almost impossible to turn back. Like, even if your first few ventures are a spectacular, fiery death, you're still it almost makes you want it even more. Like once you start, I don't think you can go back. And I think you can never really go back to a 9-to-5 job, and you can never work for someone else. And it's addictive. It's literally addictive. And it's like this thing that I honestly think that you can't get from anything else in the world. This weird cocktail of emotions of like pain and pressure and stress and motivation and excitement and joy. And like, it's such an amazing experience that, good and bad. And, to be fair, especially for the first few years, there's definitely harder times than there are successes. But it's just, I don't know. It's like, I remember once I was in the shower and I was just thinking, if none of this works out and I lose everything, I would do it again.
Yeah, it's like the saying Rolling Stone gathers no moss. Like it's just this huge momentum thing. And you read all the books and you study all the other great entrepreneurs, and you're like, oh, let me try something. Let me do something. And then if it doesn't work, you're like, all right, let's go to the next one. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking about this with Jack Ferguson the other day, actually, on his podcast. And they were talking about, how they say 9 out of 10 startups fail or whatever. But I'd be interested. I was just interested statistically to see how many of those people did another one or started again. So as much as I think it's great and I'm not really bothered by failure, I wonder if some people do just give up after the first thing or go back to normal. But I think even if they do, they're still going to live the rest of their life thinking, what if, or like not fully passionate about it, knowing that they could have an opportunity to do something themselves. So it's just a matter of whether you do it or you don't do it. Once you've started, I feel like, honestly, you can't go back. It's like eating this incredible food once and then you can never eat it again, except it's always in the back of your mind like, God, I want to do that again.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, like I think those stats are always kind of skewed. Like the was it like 80% of restaurants fail within the first whatever years? And I'm like, I've been to some really awful restaurants. They don't even try. I'm not surprised one bit.
Yeah, it's like same with startups. It's like there's some shocking ideas out there, so that would have worked. Like it's not a surprise that failed. Yeah,
yeah. So what's your morning routine like?
It's funny. Morning routine, I come from an entertainment background, so I'm used to, for years, I've not so much anymore, but I was going to bed at, 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. because I'd be out working. So I was never really a morning person. I definitely am more now. So I'll probably get up around 6:37 as opposed to like 10 or 11.
Yep.
But it's one of those things where I love to exercise every morning. I just don't. And so there's a couple things that I keep telling myself I want to do in the morning, but there's a great book called The Miracle Morning by a guy, I think called Hal Elrod or something.
Yeah, love it. That's a good one.
It's a great book, and I read that, and that was really kind of got me going. And it was so basically like you'd wake up, you'd have a glass of water, you'd meditate for 5 or 10 minutes, you'd stretch or work out or something, and then you'd look at your goals and stuff like that. And I love doing that, and as much as I love doing it, and it's so important, I'm just really impatient. So it doesn't take me long to get into work. Like I get out of bed, and just get to the computer and start working. Like it doesn't take me much to start. So I think that it's whatever works for you, really. And so maybe I should do stuff before I go to bed and type of things, because you need to set time aside to have moments for yourself and have exercise routines and stuff like that. I think I'm still adjusting to becoming a morning person.
Yeah.
Because I come from an entertainment background. So like I'm just so used to my body clock's all, because I still do DJing. So like on Monday, I'll get up at 7, and then on Sunday, I'll get up at 10 because I finished at 4 in the morning or something. So, yeah, I'm probably not the best person to talk to about having a kick-ass morning routine as much as I'd like to be that person. I'm just not yet, to be honest.
No, I was just curious because I know, like, you're into, like, you study all the entrepreneurs and, like, you hear it again and again. They're all about, like, do a journal entry before you get the day going and do a bit of meditation. They got, like, a set list of things they do. So I was just curious.
Yeah, and I absolutely think it's great, and I should do it. So I'm not saying that because I don't, it's not important. I just think that I'm just kind of, I go up and down. It's the same with exercise. Like you try to exercise every day, and you do it for a bit, and then you kind of slip. So maybe I'll get back into it. One thing I did want to do, and I started doing more often, is just visually looking at stuff that you want. So I did this consulting accelerator recently, and the first section is about designing your dream life, which as entrepreneurs, you kind of know what you want and you've done it before, but it's actually good to redo it and actually have in one place or one document, like all your goals, where you want to be, what you want to achieve in the next 3, 6, 12 months, and then all the pictures of cool stuff you like. So the cars you want to drive and the places you want to live and the watches you want to wear and the people you want to hang out with. Like I've got pictures of that interview with Ty Lopez and Gary Vaynerchuk. Like it'd be awesome if I was one of those people. And I'd also, like I want to set up animal shelters all around the world. So there's pictures of like, you know, homeless dogs being helped and stuff like that. And seeing it makes a huge difference because then it puts it into your subconscious mind and then you'll start feeling it. And then affirmations as well. So like saying stuff to yourself like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm good at that. That, to be honest, that I have started doing that in the last week, and it's good to just have it. Honestly, even if it's just the pictures, that's enough for someone to start. It's hard to create a morning routine and do it every morning, but if you, instead of going on Instagram, just look at these pictures of cool stuff that you want, and that is a great place to start. Yeah,
it definitely helps. And like, I guess, particularly with you, because you've been through the ups and downs with AroundAbout App. How's that all panned out? How's it going? Or do you want to share like kind of the journey with that app?
Yeah, it's funny. I just came back from an SBS interview for that, and I was there like, I'm probably going to shut this down in the next couple of days. So there's an interview talking about how good it is. Now we'll see what happens. I mean, like it's such, I couldn't possibly summarize the journey in the next few minutes, you know what I mean? But it's basically, it's ups and it's downs, and we've done awesome things, and we've had hard things, and we've wasted money, and we've gained stuff here and there, and it's all a mix of stuff that I think most people go through in a startup. Not that it's going to be exactly the same as mine because everyone's different, but it's those same kind of experience, up and down, and then like in trouble, and then doing good, and then no one knowing about you, then getting in the press, and it's such a mix of everything. And I was going somewhere with that. I forgot where it was, but basically, like, I would do it all again. Absolutely would do it all again. And you cannot buy experience. You might have more money than me. You might have been to uni longer than me, and you might be older than me, but you haven't done what I've done. Not you. I'm talking about like hypothetical person. Like,
yeah.
You can't replace that. Like, there's no substitute for experience and hard work. And so, just having done it was the best experience I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah, I think that's why. Everyone that I talk to, their biggest tip is like, just try it. And I think that just means try it and gain the experience and then put that into the next thing. Cause odds are your first one won't be the right one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that a lot of people think that when you fail, that's it. Like you kind of just,
yeah.
It's like, it's all gone. It's like, it's not gone. Like whether AroundAbout was quote unquote a failure, or it wasn't a failure. We did some awesome stuff, but it wasn't hitting the targets we wanted it to hit. But because of doing it, I've gained knowledge that allowed me to triple my income from other stuff. Like literally, like I take stuff that I've learned from there, and I've got, kind of the reputation as people listen. So that's good for getting in the door. And then you've got the skills to actually apply to other stuff, and then the marketing stuff. And I literally tripled my income just from experience that I learned from that. So even if you lost money and you lost time, or it doesn't just end there. It's not like I cut it off and I'm like, oh, I've gained nothing.
Yeah.
And I think it's what people might think happens. Like, they're so scared of failure, but to be honest, I think it's mostly what they're scared of what other people think. Like, oh, what if other people think I failed? Who cares? Like, seriously, it's so unimportant what other people think. You got to do stuff for you, and you got to appreciate and acknowledge that you can use that stuff for the next thing.
Yeah, and I know you're a big fan of like Built to Sell and the E-Myth. I know when you read those books, you're like, oh, I should be building this with a built-in escape plan. Like, your first startup isn't your legacy, it isn't your career. Like, you're not going to retire on this. Literally build it to sell.
Yeah, that's exactly. And it's funny, I'm similar to Gary Vaynerchuk in a way that I'll say something and then say the exact opposite. So, like, whilst I do say, just jump in and get started and just figure it out along the way, at the same time, you kind of want to be thinking about stuff. But when you're in the moment, like, oh, it'll work, like, there's no need to think of a exit strategy because we're going to kill it. You're focusing on so many other things at the time that when it's your first time in business, taking the time to read a business book about operations is like so low on your list, but should be so high because it's like you can learn and avoid so much. And as much as another contradiction, I'm saying that there's no substitute for experience, and it's good to learn your own lessons. But at the same time, if you can avoid a lot of that and kind of go in somewhat prepared, the experience is going to be probably less harsh and at least increase your chances of success by a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, if I read Nail It and Scale It, The Lean Startup, The E-Myth, Built to Sell, and maybe like, I don't know, what's another really good one? Like I'm looking at the personal MBA is a pretty good one that I'm looking at right now. If I just read those 5 books, I would have increased my chances of success by like 30%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know you had a little bit of troubles with your developers for your app. Like, I think I spoke to you a few years ago, and you're on your way down to Melbourne to get the app developed. What happened with that? Can you talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to dig old things up, but I'm just curious.
No, that's all right. That's funny. They asked me in the SBS interview, they're like, so how was working with Appstar? And I had to hold my tongue a little bit. So, look, no matter what your idea is, if your idea sucks or it's great, no matter if you speak to a developer, they're going to say, sounds great, let's do it. Because they have their hand in your pocket. So when you're new to business, you think, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to listen to the professionals, right? That seems logical. But you got to listen to the professionals like mentors and non-financially invested people, because the developer is going to it's like if you go to a barber, he's going to tell you to get a haircut. If you go to a lawyer, he's going to tell you to get a contract. If you go to a doctor, he's going to tell you to get medicine. Like, if you come to me, I'm going to tell you that you should get marketing, because it's like, I believe it.
Yep.
So if you go to a developer, they're going to say, yeah, let's do it. And it's even more so because they're like tens of thousands of dollars in a contract. So like they eat it up, especially someone that doesn't know what they're doing, because the less you have figured out before you talk to a developer, they'll figure it out with you, but you're going to be paying them for it. And so that's the thing you got to be careful is about. You can't just have an idea, because it's not enough. Like if you have an idea, you have a vision in your head. Not only is that vision completely different to what they have in their head, it's like there's no processes to follow. So you're going to be figuring it out together. And then instead of which you could have done this on your own, or at least with your co-founder or whatever, now you're paying this company that's charging you an arm and a leg to do it for you. So you got to be careful with developers. Hey, like I've been through. I'm on my 3rd company right now. The first one was just their lack of creativity cost me so much money, and they overcharged me, and their work was subpar. It's just a bit of a nightmare. The second guys were great, just a little bit too expensive. They're Buckham & Duffy's their company. They're fantastic. I just ended up going with someone else. They make amazing like breakthrough innovation technology. So a little bit too far from what I'm doing. And now I'm with new guys. So you just gotta look, do your research first. That's my biggest thing, is like just get quotes and ask around, and if you can, get a personal referral, because it'll just save you so much time and money. At least then have an idea of what this person's going to be like, or company.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say, like, for someone who's got an awesome idea and they're like, let's, like, maybe they have no entrepreneurial background at all, and they're like, you know what, I want to build an app. What would you say to that person?
I'll try not to swear here, because I don't want to drive this point.
This is like, I don't know. I don't want this podcast to stifle people's way.
Yeah, that's all right. They gotta ask people if they want it, and it shits me off every time someone goes to me, "Hey, I've got this idea. Do you have a developer I can talk to?" I'm like, "Sure. What's the idea?" And they go, "Oh, I haven't told anyone, or I can't tell people." It's like, okay, I'm trying to summarize this all in one thing. You have to talk to people, right? Your idea is a guess. Your idea is literally an assumption you've made about something, and the chances of you absolutely nailing it and creating something exactly what that customer wants is so low that you're not going to build a good business, and you're going to go and you're going to spend $100,000 on a guess. You're going to make something that either people don't want, or they only want half of it. You're going to cross your fingers and then get frustrated when no one buys it. When what you could have done is all that. So imagine when you launch, right? You've already made this thing, you launch, and then you start getting feedback, and then you go back to the developer and say, hey, we need to do this. Now you've already spent a shitload of money, and now you're going to have to spend more money to fix it when you could have done all this research first. So you've got to start, you've got to recognize a clear problem in the market, think what is a problem that people will actively pay for now. You then need to create your solution, your hypothetical solution, not concrete yet. You just want to get an idea on like what that is. And then you want to take that solution, that potential solution, talk to customers and say, have you ever had this problem? Yes. What have you tried in the past? I tried this, but it was bad, blah, 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 blah. Would this thing fix that problem? And if they say no, say why not? And then you keep building it around this market. And then once you get enough data to think, okay, this seems like something people want, you can then go and say, does this make sense as a business? So you look at like the revenue model and the cost and how much it costs to do this and whether that adds up and if you can be profitable. And then you can create like a really entry-level piece of technology or MVP product, which is a minimum viable product. So it's basically like, what's the most basic level of this concept and then give that back to the customers and say, is this the kind of thing that you're looking for? And they'll either be like, yeah, this is great, or yeah, but change this. And then not only have you validated it, which helps you raise money or get more people involved in your company, because you've got a market of people that actually want it. That's the other thing. You have a market of people that are looking to buy this thing, and you're building something for them, as opposed to building a product and then trying to force it into this market that may or may not want it. That was a really long answer, but
yeah, no, it's good.
Really
it's good.
Important. Like that process is worth $50,000. Like if you do that, you will save $50,000 to $100,000 and 2 years of your time, and you will make a product for a market that actively wants it, and everything that you do will be built around that. Because there's a thing called a minimum feature set, which is basically like, what is the one or two things that people want? So every time you're talking to people, they're going to be saying similar things. And then you can do what's called a $100 test and say, look, if you had $100, what would you pay for? Like, what is the one thing that you would pay for in this product or service that you want? And then make that. Because there's a thing called the 80-20 rule, and I know I'm dropping a lot of stuff on you, but 20% of your tasks will make up for 80% of your results. And same goes for business. So 20% of your work will make 80% of your revenue. So rather than making the whole thing, just make that 20%. Make that one or two thing that people want, and then that is enough to build, and then start making money, and then start building in the nice to have features that people keep talking about.
Yeah, and I see like what you're saying about if you read all the books before, you would have saved like 30%. Because like hearing you talk about that just totally threw me back like 2 years to when I read the Lean Startup and talking about minimum viable products and stuff. It's all,
yeah, absolutely. So I read Nail It and Scale It too. That's like a kind of more practical version. Lean Startup's a fantastic book. Everybody should read it, but it's quite technical. Can be a little bit confusing at times, and it talks a lot about split testing, but you don't really know how to split test stuff. And Nail It and Scale It is very similar in the same vein, but it's really good, and it really goes through this whole process. I just summarized it for you, but yeah, it's, oh man, that is just worth so much. And the problem is, I'll say that to people, and they won't understand the impact of what I'm saying until they do it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I probably would have done too, you know what I mean? But whatever.
Because like you're trying to preach, you're like, don't make the mistakes that I made. Listen to me. And they're like, no, I want to make these mistakes.
Yeah, or they just think that like, oh, it won't happen to me. Or like, no, this idea is so fucking brilliant that I won't need to do that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's not. How do you know though? You don't even know. You haven't even spoken to anyone. You haven't got one person that says, yes, I want to pay for it. You've just got your idea just coated in your own ego. And you think you've got the next Facebook on your hand, you want everybody to sign an NDA before you tell them the idea. Goodness.
People get weird about it. They're like, oh, I've got this awesome idea, but I can't tell
Call up your nearest competition and try to make them steal your idea. They won't.
Yeah. I mean, that's the saying, ideas are worth nothing, execution is everything.
Literally zero. Like almost less than zero. I have hundreds of ideas. You want to make $1 billion? Make a smart fridge. Make a smart fridge that knows when you run out of it's going to order them from Amazon. It's going to come straight to your fridge. It's going to be delivered direct to your door and go right in there, and it's going to track things. That's a $1 billion company. Now go and do it.
Yeah.
Very good situation.
Ah, that's crazy.
I just gave you $1 billion idea. I didn't make you sign an NDA, and I'm not going to pull it off either.
But, I'm not going to pull it off as well. So like that's the point. It's crazy. So how's your exceptions meetups going? When did that start? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, we do meetups. It's more of a community, online community, and a blog than it is a meetups thing. But we definitely do meetups, obviously. But it's great. I mean, I originally started it just because I wanted a cool group of people that were into the same thing as I was, rather than looking at, Kendall Jenner's eyebrows or whatever's going on in the newsfeed. I wanted to look at cool stuff, and then I started sharing the tips and advice that I've learned, and then people found it really practical. And I couldn't really find anyone that was. I mean, you got sites like entrepreneurship.com, and some of the articles are good, but they're not very useful. You can tell they're going for the volume. They're not very practical, and they're also written by people who aren't doing it with you. Like I put out a lot of content, and I like to share my advice, but I've never once said that I'm quote unquote successful. So it's relatable. It's like I'm going through it with you. And I've done it like recently, and I can tell you to not do it. And here's like practical steps, and I like to make things very practical. So even if we have a conversation, I like to break it down as like stuff you can take away from that conversation. So the content is just very practical and very kind of day in the life, same situation that other people are going through, which I think people like.
Yeah, the Facebook groups, like, it's really strong. Someone comments on there and you get like 5 different answers from 5 different people. And you're like, thank you. This is a good little community.
Yeah. People probably get sick of me commenting on everything, but yeah, it's definitely a great group of people, and I love it when first of all, there's a lot of people in there I haven't even met, so they've just found it through other people, and also like when people have conversations when I'm not at all involved, so they'll ask a question and like you said, they'll get all these answers. Like even today there was a guy. There's a really cool uni student who needed some people who work in the hospitality industry to try like these smart coffee cups he's made. And a heaps of responses. Like everyone's like, yeah, I run cafes, I can help you here and I do this and I'm happy to help you out. And it's just so good to see those kinds of people communicating just because of something that I set up once. Like that's the goal. Yeah. Is to just have a huge community of people helping each other and just, going through it together as opposed to, it's lonely, man. Entrepreneurship is lonely as.
Oh, for sure.
A community of people you can feel at home with.
That's a part of why I started this podcast. I'm like, man, I need to talk to some people. I'm sitting in my bedroom, I'm selling beard oil, making a good amount of money, but I need to talk to some people.
That's awesome. How's that going?
It's going well. It's like, it's really steady. I'm hoping, what are we in now? September. This last quarter leading up to Christmas should be flat out. So that'll be good.
That's awesome. Well done.
Yeah. I was just wondering because like I found you, like you've got these YouTube videos up, you've got a few blogs, you've got your community page, I actually found you on medium.com. It was like your friend has some articles. I was like, what? How is it having yourself quite out there publicly?
Yeah, it's a funny question about Medium. Actually, I kind of repost my blog articles on Medium. I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, but no, it's just more platforms to get on. I do the same with LinkedIn. But yeah, like in this day and age, the personal brand is worth just as much as a business brand. You know what I mean? Like you can create so many opportunities for yourself if you just get out there. And I know that a lot of people are kind of intimidated by it, and it feels weird at first. I come from DJing, so it was less weird for me because I'm kind of used to promoting stuff, and promoting myself. If that sounds wanky, but putting stuff out there.
DJs, you have to be out there to get it going.
Yeah, so I love putting out content, and I love it just depends how you position yourself. So you've got to be careful how you do it. I think everybody should do it. It's just like, who are you, and who do you stand? What do you stand for? So I'm all about helping people. I like startups. I like marketing. So that's kind of my brand. And so if you want to be, if you want to be the beard guy, you can be the beard guy. But is that who you want to be?
Yeah.
And then put out stuff based on that. The biggest thing is it seriously creates so many opportunities. Like I have so many people hit me up for their business startups and me wanting to be a part of the company and stuff like that. And even if I don't do it, like there's people that are better at startups than I am, but just by being in the community and being active, you create opportunities for yourself. Same with real estate agents. So like real estate agents, if they just get out there and start promoting themselves, there's people that can sell better than them, and there are people that can probably get better results than them, but you're the perceived expert, and you're the guy that people want to talk to, and you're the friendly community, you're the person that people want to go to. And that is so valuable. And some people might think, they want to stay behind the scenes or whatever, and that's cool. You don't have to do it. But I personally, especially listening to people like Gary Vaynerchuk, see a lot of value in creating that brand, because then it's not just the business. Then it's like I can kind of create an audience that will listen to whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's videos or a new startup or a marketing company or whatever. Like you can kind of bring that with you, and I see a lot of value in that. It's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, the personal branding, it's an interesting one, but I found like you check out all the entrepreneurial coaches and stuff, and there's like Tim Ferriss and Gary Vee and all those guys. Do you find it a bit weird that it's kind of this coaches go on other coaches' blogs and it's just like this one big circle thing? And like, I don't know, there are guys that do make money outside of coaching, but do you find it a little bit weird in that sense?
What, that they all kind of collaborate with each other?
That they're all talking about how to make money, and that's how they make money.
Oh, right. I see like what's his name? Tai Lopez.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, your first question about them coming together, I think it's great. I mean, it's like Instagram influencers kind of flock together, and then YouTube influencers flock together, and then entrepreneurial startup influencers flock together, and it's great for cross promotion and building their own personal brand via other people, because you're just accessing another person's audience and you're delivering content that they also want in a non-competing way. It's just joint ventures. So like you might partner with a lot of people that have like Dollar Shave Club or something. Like imagine if you two came together, both your audiences they're into what you want and that they'll like each other, except you're not competing. Like if you wouldn't collaborate with another beard oil manufacturer, because it would be stupid.
Yeah.
So it's like Tim Ferriss and Gary Vaynerchuk, two influencers, they come together. Both their fans like both of those people, but they're not competing in what they're selling, because Tim Ferriss doesn't own a marketing company and Gary Vaynerchuk doesn't travel the world and sell, do the weird shit that Tim Ferriss.
All that crazy stuff that Tim Ferriss does.
Yeah, exactly. So, but your second question was people talking about money to make money, and I don't like that. And that's like how they say those who can't do teach. And it depends. Like, it depends how you view it. I still don't know what Tai Lopez does, to be honest. Like, I still don't know what it is. And he says that he was living on a couch and how he kept going and started becoming a millionaire or whatever. I still don't know what he does. And at first I was like, scam artist. I just didn't take him seriously. Now you put out good content and he has so much knowledge because he reads so much. But Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that. Like, he might tell you how to make money that makes him money, but that's not all that he does. He has built multi-million-dollar companies, and he has taken a company from $4 million to $65 million in 4 years at 30 years of age or something. Like, he has the experience to back it up. And he also does, like, his Ask Gary Vee show, he does for free. That's not how he makes money, but that builds the audience to then when he sells a book that is worth the money, they will buy it, if that makes sense. So, like, I don't think that people like Gary Vaynerchuk are in the same realm as Tai Lopez. They're just doing it as part of their brand that kind of feeds into their other businesses.
Yeah.
Tai Lopez is a great example. I still don't know what he does. If someone knows what he does, tell me, because I'm interested. I don't know. I just know that he has really hot girls on his Instagram and he just talks about reading and cars. So yeah, I think that answered your question.
Yeah, there's some weird, like, kind of it's almost like Ponzi scheme 2.0, but the real guys like Gary Vee, like they're real. They keep it real.
Yeah, for sure. And there are some people that, and I had a similar question once. I was at a networking event and there was a guy who was a speaker, and I said, I can add so much value to someone else's life when it comes to marketing and startup advice, but I'm not a millionaire. So, like, why should they listen to me? Like, I have I can give you valuable knowledge. Like, I 100% believe it. And he goes, don't worry about you, because they don't care about you. They care about themselves. So if you can help fix their problem, whether you're successful or not, I don't know if that makes you a scam artist. I don't know. It depends on what you're selling. Like I could charge people to give them the startup advice that I have learned, even though I'm not successful, because it's value-based selling. Like, what I'm giving you is worth that value.
Yeah.
But if you just say, I don't know. If you're saying, but the thing is, I've done it. Like, I've been through it. I could read all these startup books and then give you advice on startups and charge for it and never have done it. I think that's when you're a bullshit artist.
Yeah, yeah.
Never actually done it. Like Gary Vaynerchuk has used YouTube to build a multi-million-dollar business, so he can tell you how to use YouTube. I can read a book and probably tell you similar stuff to what Gary does, but not as good. But I haven't physically done it. So why? It's like when you're trying to get investment advice from a property guy who's never bought a property. It's like, why should I? You've never done it. Like, your strategy seems fine, but if it's so good, why don't you do it? Type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I think all it takes is for one person to kind of expose you like that. But yeah.
Yeah. How was your work-life balance?
Work-life balance. I had Philip DeBello at an Exceptions talk a little while ago, and he said something really good. He said it's not about work-life balance, it's about work-life harmony. So there will be no formula for do X amount of hours and have X amount with your family and this and that. It's all about sometimes in life you're going to have to put in a lot more work, and then your family will have to sacrifice. So there's like the business, there's your family, and then there's like personal time. All of those three kind of meld together and merge with how things are going. So like, it's like if you have a not so busy week or whatever, you can spend time with your girlfriend, or you can have time for yourself, or, it's all about adjusting. And so you've just got to manage those relationships. So you have to understand with yourself, if you're going to have to pump out this project for the next week and you're not going to get much sleep, you have to understand that your body is going to sacrifice a bit, but when it's done, you'll rest and take time off or whatever. And then same with your relationship. So like if you say, look, to your family, look, I'm going to be slammed for the next 2 months, but we're going to blah, blah, blah. It's just managing it so that it doesn't go out of whack. So you're kind of managing the relationships as opposed to just kind of doing whatever happens and having the repercussions.
Yeah.
I think work-life balance, most people want to hear like, oh, I do this and then I do that. And then it's like this formula, but I don't really know if it is. The other thing is that if you got to just go 100% with whatever it is you're with. So if you're working all the time and then you work from home to spend more time with your family, but you're just on the computer the whole time, that's not worth anything. Like you'll say, yeah, and they'll get angry and say, well, you don't spend time with us. Like, no, I'm here. It's like, yeah, you're here, but you're not engaging and you're not being present with them. So look, if you don't have much time for your family because you're busy or whatever, that's okay for a little while. But when you're with your family, just be completely with them and don't, kind of half-ass do it, because then it'll be bad. And it's not about, it's quality over quantity. So like, it's like, you say you're going to take some time off and do for yourself, but you eat like shit and you don't exercise at all. Like just because you had time off doesn't mean that it was good. Just like with your family, like if you're at home but you're on the phone or the laptop and not even speaking to your kid, like that's not valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think like particularly for you and me, it's not so hard when there's what you do is not like, it's barely even work. You're like, this is fine. I've got no problem with this at all.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you're young, you have so much time. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have kids. You might not have a girlfriend. Like there's so much. You don't really need a balance because you just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I'm at a little bit. Like I don't have kids, obviously. So that obviously makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
So work-life balance, it's basically working enough to get stuff done, but also understanding that your health is worth more than anything else, and it's not worth sacrificing your health for work. Like at the end of the day, you can't enjoy all the money in the world if you're bedridden. So you just got to make sure that you do carve out time for yourself and you do relax and maybe play sport or do something that takes your mind off it, because you hear even Gary Vaynerchuk saying, oh, you got to work 16 hours a day every single day, never take a day off until you make it. And I don't think that that's productive. I don't think that that's healthy.
No.
Another thing is you'll burn out. You'll stop being passionate about what you're doing because you're pushing yourself, and you want to have a goal and a lifestyle that you're pulled toward because it's attractive, not that you have to push through, because motivation is literally like a battery. Like you can run out of willpower. And you don't want to use all your willpower on when it's not necessary. Like if you've been working hard and you're tired, take a break. Because if you're tired, in the personal MBA they talk about this. You have up cycles and down cycles. Up cycles is when you're just killing it, you're in the zone, you're really productive and you're working and do as much as you can in that period. But when you come down, you want to rest. Your body needs rest. And so like it needs, sleep, nutrition and exercise. It's like if you're low on rest, you need to rest, because if you push through it, not only are you going to come down, you're going to come down for way longer because you push yourself too hard. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you definitely need like the small wins. You're like, ooh, that was good. Let's keep this ball rolling, and then you can do a bit more and a bit more. But like if you just go balls to the wall straight out, you just get resentful and you just won't enjoy it.
Yeah, and just for some really easy practical advice, just drink more water and eat less shit and exercise.
Yeah.
Like even if there's an app called 7-minute workouts. Just do that. It's better than nothing. Or play basketball or something.
Yeah.
If you just sit at the computer and eat shit all day, you're going to be unhealthy. It's not worth it.
No.
And your work's going to be worse because you're doing work when you're tired and not in your peak state. And not to say that you're not going to get tired. Of course you're going to get tired. You're starting a business. But you just need to carve out time for yourself every now and then.
Definitely. Do you miss DJing? Because you're not DJing anymore, are you?
No, I am. I still do it.
Oh, you still are?
Yeah, no, still hustling. I still do it regularly. It's good money. So it's like and it's the same thing. It's like, am I going to sit home and watch Game of Thrones, or am I going to like go out and make some money, which I can use to feed my dream that I'm working on. So It's like, it's just work ethic, to be honest. Like, if you want something, you got to do it, even if it's late nights. Just stop being a pussy and do it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I said that in the podcast, but
no, like I said, man, you be you. That's what this podcast is about.
Sweet.
I was wondering, what's your ultimate startup blueprint book about? Like, obviously the title's there, but can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, so it's basically like all of the advice I give and repeating things I talk about and most practical stuff I've learned from books and experience and mentors and stuff just packed into one book. So it's only 80 pages, 30,000 words, 32,000 words, but it's all just like it's like a summarized version of a business, but at the same time in-depth and practical enough for you to really make some serious progress. So like it's kind of like, have you read The Personal MBA?
No, I haven't.
So I'm reading that at the moment. It like summarizes all the top 100 books you need to read to have the equivalent education of an MBA. And then that summarizes into this one book. So it's sort of like a similar, less in-depth version of that. So it'll just take you through the processes of starting a business. So the first chapter is completely dedicated to what we spoke about validating, making prototypes, and literally everything about how to make those prototypes. And you got downloadable templates. So like development scope templates. So you can just click and get the template for sending it to a developer. Like it's got everything. It's got budget templates. It's got press release templates. It's like the most practical, useful, short but in-depth guide to starting a business. And I just think I had to write it because so many people need this. Funny thing is, like startups, they don't want to spend any money. Like they see it as an expense, not an investment. If I had what I wrote 2 years ago, my goodness, it'd be worth, I'd pay $1,000 more for it. And it's only $97. So yeah, it's just basically like a summarized version on everything you need to start a business. So it goes from the product to the business model to finance, legals, marketing, all the basic stuff, all the main stuff you need to do without all the fluff. So there's not much motivational stuff in there. There's not stuff that you don't really need to know. It's just like, here's how you do basic accounting. Here's what an invoice is. Here's how to write an invoice. And then the marketing. Here's like how to use social media. Here's how to do Facebook. Here's how to do Instagram. Like just breaking down all the fundamentals of a business into one guide. And I seriously recommend it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think because like you said with the no fluff, you read so many of the same books and they start off the same way. It's like, I used to be this and I used to be that. And then now I changed this and now I make $1 million and this is how you do it. But it's mostly fluff and you get like one or two takeaways. Yeah,
it's funny. I don't even have that in there. It just starts with like, here's how to use it, do this, and you're away.
Yeah, that's wicked. That's cool. So do you have like a favorite quote or like it can be business based or just anything based?
Favorite quote? There's a couple.
Yeah.
That kind of spring into my head. One of the best ones is from Richard Branson that says it's better to do something imperfectly than nothing perfectly. Which I think is cool. Huge. I encourage like getting started and stop worrying so much about the perfect time because it is not coming.
Yeah.
It just straight up isn't. There's a good one I did in a presentation yesterday from Seth Godin, which is perfect for startups. It's find products for your customers, not customers for your products. So stop trying to force things into a market that doesn't want it, and instead of recognize the market and then build a product around that market. That's a good one. We're not born just to pay bills and die is a great one. From, I think Robin Sharma said that. I mean, there's a lot of quotes out there, but because I literally put quotes on my Instagram every day for the exception stuff, so there's a lot on there. But yeah, that Richard Branson one's probably my favorite, to be honest.
Yeah, that's killer. His books are awesome. They're like quite down to earth for
like easy to read because he's funny and charismatic, and if I could meet one person in the world, it'd be Richard Branson.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you listen to Entrepreneurs on Fire, the podcast?
No.
It's interesting. He has a similar point to like your second quote where he builds his audience and then he does like the validation, like he like sends surveys to his audience and he's like, what product do you want to see from me? And then he builds like a course and just sells them the product. So I think that's an awesome way to go with what you're saying with your second quote.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, you'll make something that they might not want. Or you'll make something that they only wanted a little bit of it and you could have spent like 80% less time and got the same amount of results.
Yeah. What about books? What would be give me top three recommended books.
Think You Grow Rich is the first one.
Okay.
By Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
Can't not put that in there. That kickstarted literally everything for me. That is the best book. It's a Bible. I actually have one that looks like a Bible. I've got a leather-bound, gold-paged, red-ribboned version of it. It's like a limited edition version because I loved it so much.
That's wicked.
And then your audience is mostly startups, entrepreneurs. Okay. Is it?
Oh, it is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like entrepreneurs and people who are like thinking about getting into business and entrepreneurial stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So the E-Myth is great. Yep. Read the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, I think his last name is. And then for startups, either Nail It Then Scale It or The Lean Startup or both.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. I read a lot of books, so there's so many that I want to say. Built to Sell is a great one. If you want to do an app, there's a book called How to Build a $1 Billion App by George Burkowski. I think that's how you say it. That's a great one. I'm looking at my bookshelf right now, and there's just so many good ones on here. I'll probably stop before I just rattle off too many.
No, that's fine.
For social media, Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk is fantastic.
Yeah.
And Sell or Be Sold is really good.
Awesome. I haven't read any of Gary's stuff, but I'm aware of
him.
Like,
I've watched his podcasts
and stuff.
Gary's the man.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
His first one was Crush It, which is obviously the one that kind of put him on the map a little bit. That's more of a motivational one. The Thank You Economy is about having conversations with people. So it's largely Twitter-based, that one, actually. It's a lot about communicating with your audience to build trust and profits or whatever. Yep. And there's Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is a very visual book. And I wondered why there wasn't an audio version of it, but it's got a lot of practical examples about how to write good Facebook posts, Instagram posts, Pinterest posts. That's really good for social media. There's other ones about social media, but that's a really good one. And then his most recent one is the Ask Gary V book, which, to be honest, if I had to recommend any of them, I probably would recommend that, only because it's such a summary of everything and it's broken up into sections. So like management, family, entrepreneurship, stuff like that. And it's like the best questions from his show, which has been a lot because he's done so many. That's a really good one. I'd probably start with that if I were you.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. I will.
You can pick it up at any page, which is great. So it's one of those books you can... Oh, I have to add in one more book. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
The Art of Creative Thinking by Rod Judkins. It's not necessarily business related, but read it. It's like easy to read, pick it up at any page, and it's like just such a good book about how to be creative and how to just stop stressing so much. It's so good.
Yeah, that's cool. I like those creative style books. I'll get that one as well.
Love it. It's the easiest read you'll ever read.
Yeah. How was because I know you were into like Jordan Belfort. Did you go and see his seminar or whatever it was when he came to speak in Brisbane?
Yeah, I did when he came to speak.
How was that?
Yeah, well, he's whether you like, obviously a bit of a debate about, do you support someone like that?
Yeah.
But, regardless of his history, he's, arguably the best salesman ever. Or at least alive right now. Like, he is incredible. He can make, and it's bad because he was so good that he'd make you buy stuff you didn't want to buy or shouldn't buy. He'd sell you shit, and he would make you love buying it. It was like amazing. So obviously you don't want to do that, and you never want to do that, and he should have to pay the penalty for ripping people off. But you can appreciate the sales tax. Yeah, now he says that he's clean, and maybe he is. I'm not sure. Says that he doesn't do that stuff, and I'm sure that he doesn't. But you can really take a lot from someone that has that kind of skill. It's like people that they've been in jail, but they just absolutely know how to do marketing or something. Like it's just what you want to take from it. So whilst most people take party animal or coke addict or, whatever, I like to take the best bits of it, which is like how to sell. And I've done his sales program, which is how to do his straight line persuasion program, which is amazing. Like incredible. Like he knows what he's doing, whether you like him or not. And even I'm kind of confused about whether I should think he's good or not, because he obviously did some bad stuff, but he knows how to sell. He knows how to sell. Yeah. And his head of sales, I became friends with and played tennis with. He's a legend named Sam. He's a really cool dude. But his prices are just incredible. Like, have a punt at how much it costs to get Jordan Belfort for one day.
I'm going to guess 60?
100 for a day, plus travel expenses. So,
good Lord.
Yeah, because I wanted to do a Skype interview like what we're doing right now, and he said it'd be $25,000 for 30 minutes or so.
Oh, sweet Mother Mary, that's a lot.
So yeah, if you want to get him on your podcast, it might cost you a little bit.
I might have to meet some people who know some people who know some people. I think that'll be my route.
Yeah.
I guess he's trying to be like an Anthony Robbins. Like that's his new thing, is doing the speaking.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so ironic because you're like, I don't know whether to believe you or not because you're so good at like selling stuff. Like, how do I know
Yeah.
whether it's legit? I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I think he's great at sales. If you're going to take anything from Jordan Belfort, it's his selling ability. And he is such a good salesman. Like, he just knows how to sell. It's incredible. It's actually incredible what he can do. If you want someone for motivation, you're better off going with someone like Tony Robbins or Eric Thomas or those people that kind of live and breathe it and have always been like that. It's kind of, even if he is great, I feel it's funny because I feel bad for dissing him and then I feel bad for endorsing him. So I'm stuck in the middle.
No, it's like, it's take what you can get from him, like take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, like if you want motivation, go to the greats. It's like if you play ball, listen to Michael Jordan. If you want to be a boxer, listen to Muhammad Ali or whatever. If you want to be motivation, listen to Tony Robbins. If you want to do sales, then you listen to Jordan. I'd rather, if you want to learn from the best, learn from the best.
Yeah, for sure. I was happy to have you on this podcast because I know you're like all into books and all the entrepreneurs and all those guys.
Yeah, and so the best people are like Gary Vaynerchuk's obviously great. Gary's really good, although he's got such a huge audience for people kind of like getting into business, so he doesn't really delve outside of the basics much.
Yeah.
So, but he likes that. He says, I want you to outgrow me. Like, I want my audience, my fans to have got so much content from me that they can leave. And so that's really cool that he says that. Because, I mean, as much as I love him, I've read his books and I've listened to his show a lot, and it's starting to go in circles. But it's really good to see his content. I mean, I always like what he puts out, and I'd love to go see him live, and I'd definitely pay for him. But in terms of people I listen to right now, Gary's awesome. Richard Branson's obviously awesome to read his books. He doesn't really put out that many videos. Eric Thomas is really cool. He puts out a lot of stuff. And it's funny, actually, we're watching a lot of Conor McGregor, which is totally non-related. Do you know who that is? Oh,
yeah, man. I'm a huge UFC fan. I'm down for all that.
Yeah, so that's more entertaining than it is. But at least he, whether you like him or not, I think he's hilarious and I think he's an amazing fighter. But he just, he says stuff and he backs it up, but he's really humble at the same time. Like when he loses, and he'll say, when he lost, it was such a good speech that he gave when he got smashed, and a lot of pressure because he was talking a lot of smack up into that, but when he lost, and he still hugged Nate and he still said, I didn't do this properly, and he was really good at this, and
he's exceptional.
Come back and do it again. And he did come back and he smashed him again. So, like, it's just so... And he does, you can look at either side. You can look at the trash talk, or you can look at when he says, you've just got to believe in yourself. And, like, when I was nobody, I was imagining myself in front of, driving these nice cars, and I told myself I could do it, and I will do it. And he believes it. Same with Floyd Mayweather. Like, a bit of a douche sometimes, but, like, he believes it so much that he will succeed because he believes it so much. Like, he's like, I'm the best boxer in the world.
Unshakable faith.
Like, put me in front of anyone and I'll win. Like, that kind of faith in yourself some can take it as ego, and to be honest, when you're talking about those two kinds of people, they sort of are. But at least having that faith in yourself is something that everybody should have, whether they express it or not. They should at least have it.
Yeah, I see why he brought it up, because he's exceptional and he like stands out from everybody else who just fights. Like he's this full package who just, I know he can't say a word wrong, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, and it's good to get other sides of it. Like in business, you need to stay motivated, but in fitness and sports, it's very tangible. Like it's literally like, if you're boxing in a ring, you have to keep going. Like you literally physically have to, or you're going to get knocked out. Yeah. So like in business, obviously life, it happens obviously at a slower rate, still fast, but slower rate. So I think athletes and like LeBron James and like that kind of dedication to the sport and their passion and the moment as well. Like they treat every moment. If you treated every moment like you're in a boxing ring, like, you'd achieve so much. And I think it's good to watch people where it's so physically tangible, if that makes sense. Like they're pushing through right now. Like you're watching them do it. So like in the fourth quarter of the finals, like, LeBron James and Curry. Do you watch basketball at all?
I know of it. I know the finals. It was pretty tight, and LeBron got it done.
Yeah, LeBron and Curry, like just they're so exhausted, and it's so much on the line, and they just keep pushing because you just can't give up. And they pulled through, and they won the championship for the first time in Cleveland history. Yeah,
that really concreted LeBron for his just next level grit.
Yeah, LeBron's the man. I love LeBron. If there's no fighting or basketball fans, we should probably stop talking about it. They'll get really bored.
Yeah, no, well, I think it was your boy Gary Vee who said, like, you think sports are competitive, try business, because you just don't stop. You wake up, you go to bed, you're competing with everyone every day.
Oh, no, that's a great way to put it, actually. So I know that I said it's more tangible, but obviously that ends, so like it's shorter spurts.
Yeah.
In terms of like physically doing it. But, you know, if you want to be good at business, and it's the same with sports anyway, like if you're training, like LeBron put that video up saying, every time I would feel like not going to the gym, I would be like, Kobe's at the gym right now. Like Kobe would be at the gym. So I'm going to go to the gym because I need to be like that. I need to be the best. So that's kind of good. If you're ever feeling lazy, you're like, what would Gary Vee do right now? Like, would he take this nap, or would he be watching this YouTube video? And it's good to kind of use those kind of people to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, especially when you're starting, like you need that grit, because it's easy to just start. Like you can get a website and get a logo and you're like excited for a week.
Yeah, that's the easy bit.
You need the grit, you need the backbone to do the marketing and the cold calls and all that stuff.
Well, that's like me saying, let's get shredded. You know, let's do it. Yeah. Oh, it's excited. I'll go buy some gym wear and I'll get some gym shoes and I'll get a sweatband and, you know, buy all these weights. But, you know, now you got to actually do it.
Yeah.
It's like when, you know, any app you launch will get a lot of hype at the start, but how are you going to keep going? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What would be your final message for someone at the start of doing their own thing or an entrepreneurial venture, whether it be like an app or just anything? What would you suggest for them?
Just do it. Just do it. Learn as much as you can before you get started, but there is no perfect time. So just do it now. You'll fail, and that's fine. Like, I want people to be okay with failing. If anything, do it fast. Fail fast and go to the next thing. Yeah. And just get started. Like, there's so much advice I could give to people, and I do regularly, but that's the biggest thing, is just begin. And it goes back to that Richard Branson quote. It's like, literally just do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Regardless of timing or whatever. Don't put too much money on the line. Like, there is such a thing as the right place at the right time, just like there is the wrong place at the wrong time. But start now. Start learning. Start whatever it is that you're doing. Like, even if it's a website or an app or whatever, like, at least start with your time, because your time is that's worth the investment. You just don't want to spend too much money, obviously, but just begin and just do it. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, just start now.
Yeah, it's exact same as like long-term investing. Like, start now, invest in yourself.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're listening to this, whatever that one thing is, you know, that you want to try or should be doing, just do it for an hour, and then the momentum will carry you forward.
For sure, man. That's awesome advice. I tell people the exact same thing.
Yeah, because, you know, all the other shit in the world is not going to be useful unless you get started. I can tell you how to do apps and marketing and sales and all this other stuff, but if you don't start, it's never going to, you know, and then you're just going to get worried that you don't know enough, and then you can't get started because you don't know enough about marketing or whatever. Just fuck it. Just start now.
Yeah. Mitch, where can people find you? Because you've got your Ultimate Startup Blueprint, you're everywhere. Give yourself a plug.
Yeah, well, I'm Mitch Hills on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. That's MITCHILLS. I get a lot of people tweeting at Mitch Hills with 2 H's. I thought it'd be creative at the start and turned out to be kind of counterproductive. So, yeah, that's Mitch Hills. Probably the most practical stuff what your audience wants is theexceptionsnetwork.com. Weekly blog articles. We put a new newsletter out every week. So, like, new blog article, headlines around the world. We got golden nuggets, like cool apps I've found, cool books I've read. It's just a really short email, but really valuable. It's like summarizing all you need to know for the week. So check that out. Awesome. And check the Ultimate Startup Blueprint out if you want, obviously, of course.
Definitely. Thanks so much, buddy. Thanks for being on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
This is like a new little thing for me, so it means a lot early on.
No, that's all right. Happy to help.
All right, thanks for listening. If you're interested in joining an awesome entrepreneur group on Facebook, make sure to join Mitch's group, The Exceptions Network. It's a really inspiring group full of awesome ideas and tips. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to our channel on iTunes or YouTube. And feel free to leave a comment or a review, really helps. We're doing a couple of podcasts a week. So if you'd like to stay up to date, visit us at worktolive.com.au, where you can join our email list. And episode 3 shouldn't be too far off, so stay tuned.